So if you are here, you are at the Doctor of Social Work Information session. My name is Elise Stokes. I am the Doctoral Program Manager, so I'm typically involved in DSW sessions as well as PhD in Social Work Information sessions. So here we just have some light introductions, myself, of course, and then Dr. Andrew Winters, who could not be here for this session, but he is the DSW Program Director. These are some faces of faculty. I know since one of you is driving, you may not be able to see, but just some familiar faces that are heavily involved in a lot of the research programs. Some of these folks have even taught in the PhD program as well. Just a note, the DSW program with us is primarily full-time faculty. So we think that that's of great benefit. Our faculty are pretty renowned. They've done some great things and they're very connected within the community as well. Some affiliated faculty, so these two are kind of mentioned just as faculty that may come on as, for example, a capstone instructor, or they may be involved in some form of mentorship with the program, but are not teaching directly at this time. So a quick program snapshot. This is a graduate level, doctoral level program, of course. Application deadlines, we did have a December 1st deadline. We're extending that to February 1st. I just forgot to update it on here. So you do have until February 1st to complete your application. So if you're starting on it and you're trying to get some extra references, or maybe you're taking a moment on your personal statement, whatever the case may be, you have a little bit of extra time to get your application in. Program focus, just want to mention we are leadership and teaching focused for an advanced practice degree. Sometimes this does differ between DSW programs if you are kind of looking around and trying to compare different ones. The duration of the program is 8 continuous semesters, so it's slightly under 3 years. This is on a part-time schedule. That is what the curriculum is designed for. And I say designed because sometimes life happens and sometimes that might be extended for whatever reason. So it is designed to be a little less than 3 years, but sometimes things just happen, or maybe you don't have all the materials you need for your capstone project in year 3, and sometimes that can prolong some things. But just know that it's designed as 8 continuous semesters. The tuition rate currently, and this is a part-time program, it is $8.30 a credit hour and $2.50 a credit hour if you have some related military service and qualifying matters. If you have any questions about financial aid or any opportunities or payment plans and different things like that, or what you qualify for, you can speak with our financial aid office directly and they can have that conversation with you a little bit more closely. So about the DSW programs, we do have some highlights here, most of which I've already kind of covered. But outside of the length of time, we do have a culminating capstone project. So in your master's program, maybe you had a thesis, or maybe you had something very similar at the end. We have a capstone project that has an oral component and a written component to it. This program is 100% online and it's asynchronous. So you do not have to have any residency in Kentucky or at U of L's campus for any reason. You do not have to have that for orientation as well. Everything is completely online. There are some synchronous sessions with your instructors and they will let you know those dates ahead of time. And that's just a way that they can connect with the students, offer some supplemental materials and additional things to connect you with your cohort and synergist seminars and different things to that nature. Program outcomes promotes lifelong learning, trauma-informed, and anti-oppressive practices. If you're familiar with the Kent School, you know we're very facilitated in social justice, being an anti-oppressive, anti-racist institution. So you can kind of expect that realm of equity, fairness, and justice to be embedded in your curriculum as well. And we aim to develop scholar practitioners in leadership and teaching in higher education. So we have a few program goals. I won't read all of this to you, but I will say something very common that you'll see is that we want to advance practice through leadership and teaching. And then you'll see some things on here as far as various modalities that we want to do that in, what we're hoping to train you in. The program will require a lot of critical thinking, a lot of analysis, a little bit of research components embedded in there, but we're hoping to give you some additional practice skills, leadership skills that you can readily apply to your day-to-day job that you're currently in. And then here is a degree map kind of listing all of the courses that you can expect to take. So you'll see some things here. I'll kind of speak out loud for those of you who are listening in on audio. So social service leadership and teaching, ethics, equity, and social justice, implementation science, program evaluation, research methods, policy analysis and advocacy, applied social service leadership, management and practice, program planning, finance, and budget, social work teaching and learning. This is theories, methods, and assessment, teaching and social work, course design, instruction, and evaluation, integrative seminar, and your capstone projects. So essentially, in your first year, you're taking dominantly classes. Your second year, you're taking practicum, and those practicum are split up in 2 different semesters. So in your fall semester, you're having your leadership practicum, and in your spring semester of your second year, you're having your teaching practicum. And there are some classes that you'll take in conjunction with the practicum classes as well. Your final year, you're working on your capstone project the entire time, and you'll also have a capstone committee that will be there to support you during that year. So experiential learning, I've mentioned both of these, but we're just going to talk a little bit more in depth. So we do have a leadership and teaching practicum, as I mentioned. This is to give you all some of the hands-on learning experience, and we do help facilitate the setup of that practicum experience, both with leadership and both with teaching. This again, leadership practicum is in the fall semester, teaching practicum is in the spring semester. Dr. Miller, did you want to, or are you able to touch on any of those 2 pieces?
I am. Thank you, Elise. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So I'm multitasking. I'm picking up my youngest from school, but it was very important for me to be here. So unfortunately, I'm here camera off because I'm in the car. But again, it was very important for me to join so I can talk more about the leadership and teaching practicum. And I want to make sure that I answer any questions that you might have. So, as Elise already said, the practicum experiences will be done during year 2. And during this time, you will be working very closely with me during year 2. I will, as Elise said, we will help facilitate the setup, and I will be the person that will work with you to help facilitate you finding a leadership practicum as well as a teaching practicum. So now I just want to tell you a little bit more about what you would be doing in both of those practicums. So right now I have students that just finished up this fall semester in the leadership practicum. And what they've done is they found professional mentors in, well, it's their agency, or it can be another agency that's in your community. And with that professional mentor, they laid out 7 leadership activities that they engaged in throughout the entire 16-week semester. So some of these things, and it's fresh on my mind because I've been grading, some of the things that they've done was set up trainings, facilitated trainings for staff. Some of the leadership activities consisted of policy development. Some activities delved into learning more about fiscal, running the budget and all of that at an agency. So it looks however you want it to look, but it will be 7 activities that you will engage in that would span across the entire fall semester. Any questions about the leadership practicum? Because I want to break it up. I don't want to run it all in with the teaching, but I want to pause to see if there's any questions. So you will be engaging in completing your leadership practicum alongside with concurrently taking 2 courses. So the first course, our courses are 8 weeks. So you would take one, which is a leadership focused class on leadership styles. It's teaching about leadership theories and how to apply them, evaluation. So that will be the first 8 weeks of the fall semester. Then the second 8 weeks will consist of taking a grant course that is oftentimes very valuable in social service agencies. Are there any questions? Okay. If you later have any questions, I will be staying on the line. So I'm happy to answer if something pops in your head a little later. But in the spring, these same students that are in year 2 right now, they will be transitioning into their teaching practicum. So what I did, I worked closely with these individuals to find them a teaching mentor. Now, majority of our students are doing co-teach at a class and have a teacher mentor with a Kent faculty member. So what we try to do is always connect the students with a full-time faculty member. We have maybe 2 students, yeah, I think it's 2 that decided to do their teaching practicum at the respective universities of where they are. So one person already is working at a university, so she will be doing her teaching practicum there. And then we have another person that resides in the Virgin Islands, and so we've been working with the University of the Virgin Islands to facilitate that teaching practicum. But what we try to do is meet you where you are, and we want to, help support you. So if there is another university that you want to teach in, we will definitely, collaborate with you to try to make that happen. So the students in the spring will be taking, again, 2 courses. First course is an 8-week course, and it's focused on teaching. And then the second 8-week course, again, is the second half of a teaching focused course. And while they're in these courses, they will be co-teaching either a course at the bachelor level or the master's level in social work. Any questions about the teaching practicum?
You were
Okay.
just so thorough.
Hi. Well, thank you. I like to think I was, but if there are any questions later, again, I'm gonna be hanging on. So if you don't have a question now, I'm happy to answer it a little later. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So along with the leadership and teaching practicum, the other part of your experiential learning is the capstone project, which I lightly mentioned earlier. So this will be an evidence-informed project. You will have some data collection or secondary analysis. It is designed to inform future practice and or teaching and learning. Again, you will have a written portion, which is the paper, and an oral presentation in defense. And so it just kind of depends on what your niche is or your interest is. Ideally, you want to come in with some kind of idea of what you'd like your project to be, or some type of idea of either the policy change that you're trying to make, or community resources that you want to involve, any sort of implementation or evaluation that you would like to do. We had one student who did her capstone on just the mental toll and effects of being a medical case manager. We had another student who did some implementation of it was almost like a relief group in military services. So it just kind of depends on what you see yourself doing and how you can complement maybe what you're already doing or what you hope to do in the future. So your capstone project is entirely up to you, and you can apply the assignments that you have in your class to slowly work toward the end goal of your capstone project. So the things that you're learning in class, when you have something due or you have an assignment, start thinking about how that ties in to your end goal of your capstone project. The whole point of the capstone assignment, as well as the degree in general, is to help you advance practice in social work and your leadership and teaching skills. So I have one slide on the difference between a DSW and a PhD, because occasionally we do get folks that are in these information sessions who are either interested in both or just are curious of both, or maybe have done partly of one and want to do the other, what have you. Different situations happen. What I tell people is, if you're thinking you are interested in both and you're genuinely not sure of which one you see yourself leading towards, to go to both information sessions. Overall, it depends on your career goal and what you want your education for yourself to look like, what you want your curriculum to look like. So with a PhD, you're mostly research focused and mostly applying research methods. You're using data to inform the fields of social work. Whereas a DSW degree is an advanced practice degree, you're using that data to make informed decisions within the organization, doing that policy and practice and applying those foundational research methods. There are different things that you can do with both degrees, and in some cases, you can do the same thing with both degrees. So it really just depends on what you want your focus to be. If your focus is leadership and teaching and you want to apply yourself in the community in that way, then the DSW is typically a greater fit. If you see yourself doing advocacy through research and data collection, then the PhD tends to be a better fit in that way. Both degrees you can teach in some capacity. It just kind of depends on, you'll be teaching likely different classes or having courses with different focuses. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're looking at one or the other. What can you do with a DSW degree? You can do many things. So this is not all encompassing. I'll just kind of read it since, again, we have some audio folks. So faculty or administrator, policy practitioner, human service administrator, nonprofit administrator, community activist, consulting and training. And you may do some of these things already. And again, the whole point is to have a degree that's going to advance your practice. So allow you to do more, allow you to know more, allow you to knowledge share, and different things to that nature. So what it takes to be a successful doctoral student, which I know we have someone on here who has already been a doctoral student a little bit. So this may not be a surprise to you all. And in looking at this list, you're probably thinking, Elise, this is common sense. Like I know all this. But it is a little bit different when you've been in a professional setting because we do accept students that have 3 years postmaster's experience. So having been in a professional setting, postmaster's, and then coming back into that student sort of lifestyle, non-traditional student, of course, it can be a little bit different because you're not necessarily the expert anymore. You have a lot of expertise to share and a lot of knowledge to share, but being a student coming back again, you're opening yourself up to learning more. So communication is a huge key to being a successful student. Asking questions, there are no dumb questions. There's going to be a lot of things that are new for you. Asking for assistance sooner rather than later. And I say this because a lot of times life happens and we know life happens and it's challenging being a student and challenging working and challenging living your life and trying to make all this work. And sometimes things happen. The sooner we know something that is impeding on your academic progress, the sooner we can offer you options. That would be the one thing, the biggest barrier that I run into is when students sometimes wait until it's too late and then I can't offer you anything. So we want to be able to give you some options to help you be successful and to help you keep processing forward in your degree plan. Communicating with instructors and program staff is the best way to do this. Your instructors will do what they can within reason to work with you or help you or do what they can to assist you to getting to that end goal as well. The other piece to being a successful doctoral student is creating your study either space or time or room for yourself. Again, that's something else that you're having to fit into your day-to-day life. So if you are someone who already has a lot of obligations or commitments, whether it's you have a family, you take care of somebody, you have pets, you volunteer, or you're just committed to other things, it's a good time to think about one, who your support system will be with all of those things, and two, how you can make some small adjustments to last you through the 3 years that you're committed to this program so that it works out well. We don't want you to feel overburdened or overstressed or overwhelmed or anything like that. You will more than likely because again, this is something else on your plate. But whatever you can do to kind of relieve yourself in some way, thinking about your current support network and what that looks like. We can be your academic support, of course, but we know that life consists of more than just us. Establishing regular study hours. So this means being very disciplined and creating that time and space for yourself, whatever time that works. If you like to split things up, I'm in an online program myself, and that's what I do. I kind of attack things a little bit at a time, and keeping in mind that these courses are very accelerated. So each class that you take 2 classes each semester, and each class is 8 weeks, which can feel very fast. You take 1 class at a time, which is great, gives you enough time to kind of absorb, and then you move on to the next class, hopefully not not feeling too overwhelmed. But at the same time, we know it's fast paced. So you have to make sure that you're being very disciplined and very intentional about creating some time for yourself. That's the best way to be successful. The other piece that I already mentioned is thinking about the development of your capstone project as you're kind of moving through the program. And then, of course, refer to the syllabus often. It sounds like something very blanket and very common sense to do, but that's your best resource is your syllabus. The other piece, too, I kind of mentioned building your positive support system. Also, eating, resting, exercising, doing some self-care activities. You can't run on an empty tank, is what we say. So, doing the things that fulfill you in some manner and keep you energized and keep you going. The other thing, too, is to be flexible. The program itself is flexible, but be flexible. Sometimes there are changes that need to be made, and we keep students as informed as much as we can. We also think students should be flexible with themselves. So give yourself a lot of grace as you're going through this program. As far as what to expect during the study, we do have an orientation session. As mentioned, these sessions are completely online. You do not have to come in person for anything, but you'll have some online learning modules for orientation to get you familiar with the use of Blackboard, which is our online learning platform that you'll use for your classes and for your assignments. So it'll get you familiar with those processes, and that'll be usually around the middle of the summer. So you'll have a set amount of weeks to complete those online learning modules. You'll also have some points at which you'll meet with your cohort. It's in synchronous sessions. So that gives you some time to do some pre-work activities to kind of prepare you for the classes coming in, but it also gives you time to familiarize yourself with some of the faculty and, of course, with your peers. You will also experience a retreat at some point in the second year of your program. It's a little far-fetched right now, but it usually helps to prepare you a little bit for that leadership and teaching practicum and touches on your capstone just briefly. Expected performance, doctoral level writing skills, we are really sticklers about APA style. If you're not familiar with APA, you will be coming into this program. So if you're not already, definitely brush up on it. There is a manual available, but this is something that's going to be continuous from the moment you begin the program until the moment you end. And likely, if you're still doing publications and things like that, you're going to be using the APA manual here and forward. The coursework load requires about 12 to 15 hours per week. So start thinking about how you can embed that extra time into your life without it being too strenuous. You will have 2 to 3 synchronous sessions per 8-week course. Again, your instructor will tell you when those sessions will be. And again, it's to provide supplemental education, sometimes professional development pieces, and of course, you're meeting with your faculty and your cohort. Again, initiating communication when personal issues arise that could conflict with your coursework completion. That's also an expectation. So some co-curricular offerings, Synergist Seminar. This is another opportunity for students to ask questions. So sometimes there are topics in the seminars and sometimes there are not. Sometimes students just can come in and ask different questions. It can be questions about the capstone process. It may be questions about the practicum process or just different things that are kind of aligned with the program in general. Or sometimes the topics will be a little bit more pointed. This can be reviewing different things like your CV or your resume, could be teaching philosophy and just different professional development pieces. That's also what the DSW Connect is for. A lot of those pieces with Connect are naturally embedded in the courses. So we have been looking at kind of reorganizing how that looks. But you can expect to have some of these extra pieces just throughout your program to help you be successful. Candidate requirements for applying to the program is having a master's GPA of at least a 3.0. This is a graduate school requirement, not an individual program requirement. Completing an MSW or an MSSW degree from a CSWE accredited program, at least 3 years of postmaster's degree experience, currently employed in a human service setting of some kind. And this could be individuals with private practice and other forms of employment as well. Must possess strong written and oral communication skills and showcase analytical ability. So the application process, which if you've already been on the online learning website, you probably have already seen all this. So there is a graduate application. There's a fee with that application. You must submit official college transcripts from all of your previous institutions. So the graduate school defines this as any institution where you've obtained credit. You're required to submit your official transcript for. If you are someone who is a previous U of L graduate, we can pull those transcripts for you. A current resume or curriculum vitae, and then writing sample demonstrating the applicant's writing ability and analytical ability utilizing a prompt. Those prompts are on the application checklist, which this is all again located on the online learning webpage for the Doctor of Social Work, so you don't have to memorize any of this. It's all there. 3 letters of recommendation from individuals familiar with the applicant's work or academic ability, such as former supervisors and instructors. Let's see here. So I won't read all this to you, but there are some prompts for the personal statement. It is a 2 to 3 page single space document, and there are some questions along with the prompts for you to take a look at. Writing sample is very similar. There is a prompt for the writing sample as well. Again, 3 pages, double spaced, APA style. So we're already trying to check to make sure that you're able to kind of utilize that. And then, of course, MSW degree and 3 years post social work experience kind of already mentioned. And then here's the application process. So after you submit your application, there is a review of the application. The committee will review it. We will not be reviewing applications until the end of our extended deadline, February 1st. So we'll take a look at everyone's application at that time. If for those who have completed all materials, everything looks good, we do take a look at the entire application. So we're also looking to make sure that you follow those prompts. We're looking to see the context of those prompts. We're also looking to see as far as what you've determined your career pathway to be and how this program fits into it and what skills you can kind of bring into the program and what you're hoping to get from the program as well. So all of those things we're kind of looking at in that application process. If everything kind of looks like you would be a fitting candidate and the program is a good fit for you, we would invite you to an interview. And then from that interview, we determine whether or not we should make an admission offer. And then if you do get offered admission, it would be up to you as the applicant to accept, decline, or defer that offer. So that would be your admissions decision. So again, I have not updated this to say February 1st, but we do have an admission deadline extension of February 1st, and classes start in August 2025. Again, if you have any questions about the financial aid office, the best office to connect with would be them directly, just so I don't misspeak on anything. And again, they can provide you more personalized options if you want to kind of have that opportunity. We do assist students some, as far as some additional supports. So we have Grammarly. We automatically provide students with a subscription to Grammarly. We also have distance education and online library services. And we also have a virtual writing center. So all of these things are dedicated to assist our doctoral students to be successful, to have their work looked at and revised, and also to be able to do their data collection and article review and just different things like that. We also offer technical help, of course, because we're an online program. So we do have a Blackboard help desk. Again, Blackboard is the online learning platform that you would be using in this program. And then, of course, we have information technology help desk, which they assist with everything else that's not Blackboard. If you have additional questions, there is the online learning team online at louisville.edu, and there's also myself. That number there, 502-852-3931, that is my office line, and DSW Kent at louisville.edu is our service account, so I do check that as well. So I'm going to stop sharing and just see if there are any questions at all. Emily, I don't know if you're speaking, but it looks like you are, but I can't hear you. That's okay. Oh, great question. So how large are the cohorts was the question. We typically take roughly 20 students. We get more than that as far as applications, but that's about how large our cohort is. There are some programs that are much larger. We prefer to have a smaller cohort. Like also mentioned earlier, we have mostly full-time faculty, so it just allows um, a better student to faculty ratio to get more of that one-on-one individualized attention. Other questions? And feel free to type more in the chat. And no pressure, of course. If you all do think of other questions after we hop off, because I think that always happens where we're like, oh, I wish I had asked that. Like I said, you can contact me directly, or you can just use the DSW Kent at Louisville.edu, and we do check that service account. Um, but again, no pressure. Dr. Miller, we just did such a good job that there's no question.
I think that's what it is. We need to pat ourselves on the back.
Oh, no, I know it's a lot of information, you all, so if you're just absorbing, that's totally fine. Um, but I will give everyone a bit of their time back. So we'll go ahead and end the session, but if you do have any questions afterward, please don't hesitate to contact me.
Thank you all for joining us.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a great day, you all.